Hello and welcome to lesson planning. We are going to walk through the lesson plan template that's in front of you here. And so if you want to pull up the lesson plan template, if you can do that as well, or just make notes in your notebook. Because we're just going to go through each cell here so I can tell you exactly what you need to do to complete it. So if we go through here, you're the teacher candidate, obviously. The grade level is the grade level that you're designing the lesson for. The theme is not always going to be in a lesson plan template. That's specific to this course because after you learn how to develop and design lesson plans for one lesson, you're going to be asked to create a whole unit of lessons for a whole week and with a theme. And so we're going to use the same lesson plan template. So that's where you'll put your theme, whether it's gardening, like the example that I gave you, or, oh gosh, so many lessons people have, so many themes people have done over the years. You know, the World Cup, March Madness, the Olympics, lots of sporting events, Earth Day, holidays, so many things people have used for themes. So that's where you would put that. The next is the central focus. Now, what the central focus refers to is the overarching umbrella. Like, this is the big area that you're working in. So if you're teaching students how to add fractions, for example, you would just put in fractions here. For my courses, you just need one word, whatever the central focus is. It's just the overarching area that you're working in. So if you're doing expository writing, you just put expository writing. Now, some other professors might want you to write a complete sentence about this or provide a little bit more detail. But for my purposes, I just really need you to identify the main area you're working in. Prerequisite skills and knowledge. Now, this and the common errors and misunderstandings anticipated sections are trickier for you until you start teaching them. Once you've taught for a year, then you've got really great experience and you know what to expect. You know what's going to trip students up. You know what they're going to be confused about that's going to take a little bit longer for them to learn. You're going to understand what they need to know first before you can engage in this lesson. So, but for right now, think about your learning of this concept. Like when you were learning long division, what was trickiest for you? And so put that in as common errors and misunderstandings. You could even look it up and ask, the AI, what are some common errors and misunderstandings that students have when they're learning how to add fractions or whatever. Prerequisite skills is really kind of the main things that they need to know before they can really access this lesson. And so you could just think about what have they learned in the grade level beforehand that would apply here. The next area is the Common Core standard or standards if you're working with more than one, and often you will be in a lesson. Here, I want you to write down the number and the full standard. So write down the full wording of the standard that you're working with. The next one is the lesson objective. The lesson objective is critical. This is the statement about what you want the students to walk away from this lesson knowing or understanding. And there's a really simple formula for writing it. It's called the ABCD formula. I'm going to write that right in here. And so what you do is you think about putting all these elements in your lesson objective. If you've taken a special ed class, you may have heard about SMART goals. And that's another acronym that can be really helpful. And we'll talk about that one as well in a minute. But the ABC format is A stands for actor. The actor is the student. So basically, every Lesson objective will begin, the students will. Easy. B stands for behavior. What will the students do? See, your lesson objective has got to be measurable. You'd never want your lesson objective to say something like, students will understand how to add fractions. Well, how do you know at the end of the day, at the end of the lesson, how do you know that they understand it, right? How are they going to demonstrate that understanding? That's what you want to put into your lesson objective. So the students will, let's use adding fractions as an example. The students will successfully or accurately, let's put accurately, add fractions using fractions. Let's be specific here. Add fractions with the same denominator. Yeah, that's all you have to do. And then, so the behavior is, let me put here, what the students will do. And then C is criteria. And so what is the criteria? Well, I'm going to have them add fractions with the same denominator. And so criteria is like under what circumstances. So if it's a reading one, it might be that you have them read fluently or read a certain number of minutes, read so many words in a minute. You might have them read so many words in a minute of a third grade text. So that the third grade text is the criteria, right? It's specifying the difficulty level. Or you might say, because lessons have to be differentiated, you might say, read a text at their instructional level. And so because it's going to, not all students are reading at the third grade level. So the students will add fractions with the same denominator. So I'm saying, okay, they don't yet have to demonstrate an ability to add fractions with different denominators or add mixed numbers. So that's my criteria. And then the degree, to what extent do you want to see this? And so sometimes you'll see goals or lesson objectives that say students will add fractions with the same denominator 85% of the time. That's reasonable, right? And so maybe that's not a bad idea to say that, or 8 out of 10 times. You'll also see that. The degree is, okay, I want to see them do it at least 8 out of 10 times. For me in this lesson, I want to see it. I'm going to measure this with an exit ticket where I give them 5 problems. I want to see them do it accurately all 5 times. Okay, so I might want to say with 100% accuracy, I could say students will add fractions with the same denominator with 100% accuracy. There. So we've got the actor, the students, the behavior, I'll add fractions, criteria with the same denominator, and the degree with 100% accuracy. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to engage in something called backwards design. Backwards design means that you go next to your lesson assessment. How are you going to know it when you see it? Okay. And so what you want to put in your formal assessment here is how you are going to measure whether students have met your lesson objective. So students will add fractions with the same denominator. Okay. An exit ticket. Students, how would I say this? Students will I didn't really mean for this to be bolded and underlined. Students will complete an exit ticket with 5 uh, problems where they need to accurately add fractions with the same denominator. Okay, perfect. So that is my formal uh, assessment. Then I can say if each student, whether or not each student has met the lesson objective. Because remember, assessments are for us as teachers, right? It tells us what we need to do next to help students get to where they're going. And so I'll know what students are ready for the next thing, are ready for more practice, and I'll know which students need more instruction or more practice. Okay, so in the next video, I'm going to come back to, we're going to do more on assessments because there are lots of ways where you'll informally assess your students throughout a lesson. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. For now, that's the end of this video. And in the next video, I'll talk about what do you put in the beginning, middle, and end of your lessons? How do you assess students throughout your lesson as it's going on? And anything else that you need to keep in mind when you're planning lessons. That's it for now.